On today's show, as always, I only allow illustrious guests on the show, and today might be the most illustrious of all. It is a professional baseball player. That's right, someone who actually knows about baseball, unlike myself. Romeo Sanabria, professional player for the Padres. We're going to be talking to him from playing the game, being named an All-Star, the Cal League, all sorts of stuff. So, keep it locked in. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, for Friday, September 20th. As always, I'm your host with sometimes occasionally, but I promise you, certainly not always the most, Javier Reyes. You can follow my other baseball-related work over at justbaseball.com. You might be familiar with it. You can check out that as well as my other podcast, Baseball versus the World, on general stuff. But this is, of course, Locked On Padres, at @LO_Padres on Twitter for updates on the show. And then me personally at Javapeno, JAVIIPENO. And today is a very, very special episode because it is not just me. It's not even another Locked On host. It's not even another baseball host of any sort. Instead, I'm being joined by Romeo Sanabria, a professional baseball player extraordinaire for the San Antonio Missions, the AA affiliate of your San Diego Padres, first baseman, just got up there and he's killing it over there. Romeo, sir, how you doing on this fine Friday afternoon?
Doing very good. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in there, man. It's really interesting talking about baseball when it's been going on for so long, and then you have, the postseason is barely starting, but then at the same time, I'm paying attention to football very selfishly, but all sorts of stuff. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna dive into his career as well. I think this is just gonna be a lot of fun, just talking ball. Today's episode, guys, is brought to you though by FanDuel now through September 22nd. So you've got 2 more days. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. First of all, for Romeo, you are the second professional player on this podcast, Kevin Kopps being the other one. Shouts to him. Hope he's doing well. At first, I just want to start off with how I feel like I talk to a lot of players, which is just, can you talk about just the everyday lifestyle of being a minor leaguer? Not just in general, but also specifically your time with the Missions.
Yeah, so my everyday styles goes like in the morning, it's just your ritual. Usually you keep doing the same things every morning. Either you like cooking or you go out, whatever you need to do in the mornings, because usually you get the mornings off. Like you get from the morning all the way until report time. And usually report time when I was with the San Antonio Missions was around like 3:00. And games usually are at 7. So you have all day during the morning, kind of in the noon, you'll be able to go get your groceries. But usually what I do with my time is in the morning, make a good breakfast meal, call family, because you know how it is during the season. Like not everybody gets to talk to their families, get to see family. So in the morning, it's a precious time for that time to like revert back to family. And then once family's taken care of and everything, then you basically go back to work. Like you'll see you'll see who you're facing today, who you're what you're gonna need to prepare for. And once you arrive to the field, then it's like time to go to work. Like you get ready, then it's game time.
Absolutely, man. And I'm wondering, like, first of all, do you have a preferred breakfast meal? Do you have any sort of and on top of the breakfast meal, do you have any superstitions? I love asking players about this because it's very 50-50 with this. Some people are like, yeah, I don't care. And then others really love it.
For me, I really don't like. Sometimes I do. Sometimes if I need like a good game, I'll get like a tropical smoothie, like something small. But then my superstition, like on the field, it's like wearing like the 1%, one pair of cleats. Like I wear my black Under Armour cleats every time for game, and they always help me throughout the year.
Love that, man. Love that. Shouts are Under Armour. I think that another thing I want to ask about, I guess, is when you're preparing for the process. I guess this is a little bit tied to it. You said you preview pitchers, right? Like you're going to look at opposing pitchers, you look at all that stuff. What is it like? I think in this period of baseball we're in, where it's been there's always this debate on numbers and analytics and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, have you, not only how do you use that, I guess, but also like is it as toxic, I guess, in actual players? Because I have always wondered, like, is this is just a dumb internet, media sort of thing? You know what I mean? How does it kind
Yeah.
of work its way into your prep?
So a lot of times, like you said, you're gonna look at the opposing pitchers like analytics or like how their pitchers are moving, how everything like is gonna play when you step in the box. When you step in the box, it's a different game. Because
Hmm.
sometimes that pitcher's fastball says it's like 94 with induced or has
Hmm.
94 with run. So you look at that, but once you step in the box, sometimes that pitcher isn't having their stuff the best that day. So you have to play by one, reading the pitch, and number two, just getting information based on the trackman. Sometimes like you're sitting like first batters up there, usually they're gonna be the ones taking pitches, trying to get like the feel for the pitcher. So you're up there looking at the trackman and it says, oh, this pitcher's today is hitting 91 with not that much induced. And you're there like, oh, okay. So let me prepare better once I get into the on the on deck circle, and then you get a closer look and you get to see it, and then once you step in the box, you have a better like you're familiar and you understand what's gonna happen there.
Nice. I'm wondering, has it changed in the sense that not like the literal numbers? I mean, I guess that always evolves. That's just how math works, I think sometimes. But was it the same like growing up? Like, did you have I guess not a breaking point, but like a focal point where you started, like you remember being like, oh, like I'm going to start paying attention to numbers now.
Um, as a kid, no. As a
Hmm.
kid, I used to just play.
Hmm.
That's how you want to play though. You want to have fun. You're more relaxed as a kid than when you come here, because then here you're gonna of course pay attention to numbers. You're gonna pay
Yeah.
attention to like all that type of stuff. But when I was in high school and college, never worried about numbers. All I worried about like who is I'm facing. And I
Hmm.
just remember who I'm facing, and that's it. I used to just love playing the game. That's how I always grew up playing.
Yeah, because I always wonder, like, it's like when you're growing up, you're not. I feel like that's not why you get into baseball in the first place. But it's just really interesting to me, that dichotomy, I guess,
Yeah,
between the two. And I'm wondering, speaking of kind of analytics and stuff, can you talk about just playing first base? There's a famous, I feel like speaking of media and whatnot, I feel like Moneyball is like the preeminent relic for how this became so mainstream, is talking about numbers and stuff. And of course, that movie has the famous scene in which Ron Washington, not
yeah.
literally Ron Washington, says like, it's easy to play first base. He says it's incredibly hard. What are kind of some things that you do to prep at first base? Because I personally feel like it's a position that doesn't get talked about a lot from the defensive side.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, what do you think are some misconceptions around what it takes to play first base?
So as a first baseman, it's like same thing as third base. You're in the corner, so it's gonna
Hmm.
be like the hot zone. Usually, you're gonna
Yeah.
get a ball hit like 110, but it feels way different from 110 from the corners than on second base and shortstop, because
Hmm.
those balls are ripped to you. And to prepare for those, you just gotta be always like paying attention, because a ball hit 110 to you and you're not paying attention will get past you, or even if it hits you, it's gonna hurt.
Hmm.
So preparing for that, usually every day, catch normal ground balls. And I usually what I do to prepare is I go play a different position. I'll go to like second base or
Hmm.
shortstop to help with range. And it helps you like once you like because the ball's hit usually when the ball's hit to like first base, it's hit hard and you have to react. So usually going to a different position helps with like getting the range, moving your feet, all that type of stuff. And then of course, just playing catch usually
Hmm. Is
is the
that like a
best thing.
common? Is that like a common practice, like for first baseman? Do you
Yeah,
think?
like you'll see everybody move around the infield, like even like third base. Sometimes they go to second base and just play around there, move around. Because in the games, usually you're just kind of hugging the line and you're hugging the six hole, or as first baseman, you're hugging the four hole and you're hugging the line. So you don't really have to like in moving the like moving
Mhm.
around really helps prep for the game. Because say a chopper, a rollover hits to you, you could get the range and get a nice feed to your pitcher, and they always love that.
And I love that too. We're going to continue our chat with Romeo in just a second. Can't wait to ask him some more questions, keep picking his brain. But first, a word from one of our sponsors. We'll be back with Romeo in just a sec, guys. But first, need to talk to you about Robinhood. And with Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 5% APY on uninvested cash, receive
unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Check it out.
And just like that, everybody, we are back here rolling into the second segment of the show, thriving and vibing, as always, on this podcast, here with Romeo Sanabria, AA player for the San Diego Padres, San Antonio Missions. Very cool. Moving on, though, we just talked about you playing first base and whatnot. I'm wondering, since those are things that you practice at, what are specific parts of your game that you think you're looking to improve upon, whether that be defensively, whether that be specifics defensively, certain balls that are hit? Maybe do you want to add, I don't know, more positional utility? Are there certain pitches that you feel like you need to be getting better at? And how do you go about that process, I think?
So everybody here works on different things. Like a shortstop, even myself, a third baseman, everybody has something to work on. For me, I always work with my infield coordinator, and we always, every game, even after a game, we'll sit down together, talk about what happened during the game, what I felt was wrong, what I felt was right, of course. And the one thing I've been working on since I got to San Antonio was working on my range. That's why I like to put it as an example. A good routine is go to second base and shortstop to help with range, because you have a lot more ground to cover than playing first base. So what I do to help me with my range, like all my range and stuff, is playing a different position. And usually that's what I'm going to be working on during the off season and working on when I go to the fall league. I'm going to be working on all that type of stuff to help me get better at that one specific thing I need to work on.
It's interesting because just to me, this is one of those things, when like someone says something that was so obvious, but you never thought of it before.
Yeah.
That's kind of me with you saying that you practice these other positions. I'm like, I don't know why. I mean, again, this is why you're playing and I'm not. I think that I'd like to know, does it ever get a little bit sort of like it's a lot to juggle where you're, or juggle and juggle. There we go. Is it a lot to juggle where you're like, one day I'm practicing at second, but then in an hour I'm getting ready for my game at first? Or do you just feel like it's super fluid and not all that much to kind of manage?
When I first got drafted, it was a lot to juggle, because once you get drafted, you're going to get poured with information in a tiny little glass. And they're going to expect you to get that tiny little glass, and you make sure you have it every day. So a big difference from then and now is that I just made whatever they made from that little glass and just made it very simple. Making things simple for yourself, it's going to help you in the long run. And that's why everybody's in the majors. They get the information and they make it as simple as possible. That's why whenever I'm getting information, I'm like, what's the easiest way to get it done? And they say, okay, let's go to a different position and do the same thing you've been doing at first base, but just do it at a different position. And that will be the only difference. It's just trying to make something that you have and just try to shrink it, make it simple.
That's honestly feels like good life advice in general. Honestly, I like how you put that. What do you? I guess let's talk about some specifics about the position. Is there anyone that you? You know what? We'll jump to this question too. Is there anyone that you kind of like to model your game after, or even if it's not your game, just the other stuff, the off the field stuff, the preparation work that you try to model off of different players that you come across?
Yeah, so like I like to model myself after. I want to try to always gonna work towards to be him is Freddie Freeman. Easy example, him, big lefty guy as well. Guy that mashes balls, guy that
I've heard of him. He's pretty good.
Just does everything right though. Like he's a professional about what he does. He keeps his routine simple. I heard. Just like he's on the field for say 20 minutes, but he's getting what he needs done before the game. And that's what keeps him available every day, because he's always doing the same routine, but he keeps it small, easy, so he doesn't overwork his body, and it helps with playing the whole season. That's how he gets to play the whole season long, how he's always playing, having fun, he'll make a mistake one here and there, but that's how everybody is. Nobody's going to be like that one perfect person. He'll keep his routine simple, short, and that's how I'm trying to model myself into.
Well said. I'm wondering, I guess on that same note, might as well just jump to this question since it makes sense. Did you have any particular favorite players growing up? And are they still your favorites too? Because there are some people who are like, I like this player, but now I like this player now. You know what I mean? So both past and present.
No, for me it was Roberto Clemente because I grew up in a Hispanic household. My dad loved them.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, my whole family loved them. Like
Mm-hmm.
my aunt has a picture of her dad and Clemente together in a regular photo,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Really?
use and it's pretty cool. And then every time I go back to the islands from like that's where my dad's from, I usually go there to visit family, and he's gonna be the big guy there. Everywhere you see is like a statue or a little kid wearing a T-shirt of him,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody loves the guy, and that's why I love growing up since.
Hey, I mean, as a Puerto Rican lad, I like to, eschew propaganda as much as I can for every
Yeah,
Puerto Rican player. Clemente, my dad would always tell me, just really stone cold, just be like, he had an arm that was a cannon. That's all he would tell me. And then I just became a fan, and you get some clips on YouTube and whatnot. But yeah, obviously a big time player and one of the
yeah.
best to ever do it. So
Hmm.
great pick as well. Let's talk back to you though. You were promoted from high A to double A this year.
Yep.
And I am wondering, again, this might be a novice question. What is that process like? Not just I mean, congratulations, of course, on being promoted, but that process of being like, first time here, and now I got to get ready to not just meet new teammates, not be in just a new location, but also get used to a new level, a
Yeah.
new level of playing professional baseball. So, what is that kind of process like?
So the process this year was a lot because I went from Lakey to Fort Wayne, and I had to
Hmm.
get used to that first.
Hmm.
Once I was in, after being in Fort Wayne for a little while, then getting promoted to San Antonio. Of course, the excitement was crazy. I was happy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go over
Hmm.
there, play my game, have fun.
Hmm.
But you're surrounded with like people that been there before. Like they've been where I'm going. When I got there, everybody there was like, of course, like a pro. Everybody, the routine I have was a little longer what they had, and they just
Hmm.
kept it like smaller. Everything they did, like every day to day uses of like cage work, everything was small, simple, and they just like even in the game, they just look so smooth, so like calm, and I was just there excited, just like happy just playing there. So
Hmm.
it was fun. Of course, it's gonna be a little like sometimes you're gonna be like overwhelmed, saying, "Oh, yeah, I have to get used to like this now." I'm like,
Hmm.
just have fun though. It's part of the
Hmm.
game.
Hmm.
You never know. Just keep playing the game. It's always gonna be just having fun. It's just like the way I go by every day.
Absolutely. And I'm just wondering, did anything change at all? Like your process, like all of your prep, did you have to adjust to like, I don't know, just different levels of pitchers? Did it take a while for you to like, I don't know, get data or anything on like other pitchers and whatnot?
No, every day you get the data about the pitchers you face every day is on your like we have a team website. We just go on there, we'll see the data, of course. Yeah, I haven't seen any of his pitchers, but that's how life is. Like I'm gonna go
Mhm.
up there and when I step in that box, I know what he has. Of course, he knows what I have. It's a chess match at that point.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting to me just like how much things change and how much if you've never faced a pitcher before, one of the things that I love talking about on my show that's funny is the major league affiliate for the Padres, obviously, like when they struggle against some pitcher they've never seen before, even if that pitcher is not necessarily like lighting it up in wherever they had come from. And I just find that so interesting that everybody's different, I guess. And
Yeah,
it's everyone can be good. There are some players you'll look up that aren't very good against average level players, but they're great against Hall of Famers, right? So
yeah,
that's what's like so funny to me all the time. Just how many the different I think levels of the game, and just
yeah,
how much diversity, not in terms of race too, but in terms of just like what kind of players you are.
yeah.
How would you describe yourself as a player, especially for people who are coming across you potentially for the first time?
So I describe myself as a team guy. I'll
Hmm.
go up in the box when I first got here. I was just always saying I'm gonna get the job done. That's what I
Hmm.
always said. When there's a runner on second, runner on
Yeah.
third, I'm saying I'm gonna get the job done. I'm gonna score this guy. I'm gonna grab some RBIs. We're gonna try to win the game. That's how I try to describe myself as a player. I want to win games because then tomorrow we'll do the same thing again. We'll win. If
Hmm.
we lose, guess what? Leave that behind you. Let's play tomorrow's a new game because you play every day, and your only day off is basically a travel day, and then
Hmm.
the next day you're back on the field. and all you could do every day is just try to win games. Like, of course, you're gonna look at your stats once or twice. I did sometimes. After a bad game, I would look at my stats and I'm like, okay, look at that. But you can't think like that. You just need to keep your head underwater and just swim.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep
Immaculate
going.
quote. We love that. Is it just kind of this feel like you said you're playing like every day basically? I mean, obviously as a
Yeah.
professional, does that like get grueling at some point, or is it a little bit overstated sometimes?
No, sometimes it's overstayed because yeah, your body like in the beginning of the season, like I'll say from April all the way to like June or July, your body's like, every day it's ready. But then once it's like then it comes like September, like August, September time, everybody's bodies is starting like to like, start hurting or like you don't want to go to the gym, you want to sleep that extra
Mhm.
hour rather than being in
Yeah.
the gym like you used to
Oh
be.
yeah.
Sometimes your body's gonna need that. You'll sleep in. You'll also like the trainer. Like you're gonna build relationships wherever you go. That's the big
Mhm.
thing. You're gonna build relationships with your trainers, your everybody, your coaches, managers. You're gonna tell your manager, hey, I don't want to take ground balls, or today I don't want to go to the gym. It's always about communication, and your body's not gonna be there.
Mhm.
But nobody plays 100%. Like right now, I bet you everybody in the big leagues, nobody's feeling 100% except for the people that are coming up from AAA. There, even their body's not 100%. They've
Mhm.
been playing a long season since they've been started, like big leagues is starting until now. Everybody's bodies is getting tired, and that's when it's grind time. This is where usually you'll get like everybody like saying, "Okay, come on, guys, let's win. Don't even worry about like stats now. Let's bunt the ball. Let's get the guy over. Let's win games." Because
Mhm.
that's how you make it to the playoffs, and those people that make it to the playoffs, that's how they win the games. Like they won championships. Everybody. That's why everybody like Jackson Merrill. He was excited from day one,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then look at him now. He's continuing raking, and
Mhm.
what he keeps saying is that he wants to win a World Series, and that's what's motivating everybody else in the dugout. If you motivate yourself and keep that positive reinforcement every day, that goes down the whole dugout, even to the manager himself, and that's how you win. Like you get excited after a hit or you get a run. Everybody's like the momentum is on your side, and that's what it takes from being tired, but also winning a championship while you're tired. And that's how I went through it.
Great shout of Jackson Merrill as well. Well said. Endow yourself, I imagine, with my listeners who basically can never stop talking about Jackson Merrill. I mean, you should see the comments; they're losing their minds. So, yeah, they're a big fan of Romeo, as am I. We're gonna get into the final segment of this show where I have one more question about his playing style, and then we're gonna get into some still baseball related questions, obviously, but a little bit more fun for you guys in this last segment. So, just one word from our sponsor.
All right, guys, before the final segment with my guy Romeo, just got to talk to you about one of our longtime sponsors that we love and cherish so much, and that is the good folks over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you could possibly need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers to roof racks, LED headlights, new carpet, whatever you kind of want, whatever you're looking for, and much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you all covered, so don't worry about that. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. Oh, that's such a bar. We love it very much, and we love eBay Motors because of that guaranteed fit. It's great. They just have like a little check mark. They'll tell you everything that fits. It's great. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Go check it out. And now let's get back to Romeo.
And just like that, everybody, we are back, thriving and vibing back into this episode of Locked On Padres, your team every day. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Romeo Sanabria here with me now. Last question. I wanted to ask you about being named a Cal League AllStar in 2024. What's your reaction to that? What's the feeling? How does it go? What's playing in the game like? Frankly, I've always wondered what it's like to be nominated for anything or good at anything. So take us through it, man.
So I found out by, of course, my manager back in Lakey, Lucas Ray. he texted. He was the first before it even got posted. He texted me. He's like, "Congratulations, it's well
Mhm.
deserved." And
Yeah.
then I was like, "Wow, I'm an all-star," and that's like an exciting feeling because, like like you said, not everybody gets to have that opportunity, but that's what everybody built up to, though. I was very blessed. I was very happy, and playing in that field in California, it was a grind. Like we clinched the first half, and it was like the most exciting thing to me. How I'm like, wow, this is exciting feeling. But everybody in the locker room, that's who you started with, and getting to win clinching a playoff spot with them and playing with them was the most exciting feeling. I know they just lost yesterday to the Modesto Nuts for the championship, but I was so happy for how they grinded, how they played, and that's all you can ask for as like a player that was there. And I just wanted to continue that. I wanted them to like have fun. It felt like what I felt winning the or clinching the first half and getting to be an all-star. It was like the best feeling. Like it's like exciting.
I imagine us be really cool just being by a bunch of peers who also were at the top of their game, right? Like it's just a
Yeah.
collection. So that must be really cool. Well said, Romeo. You've been playing, you've been balling out in Double A, but I've got some fun, silly questions for you. First of
Let's
all,
go.
I gotta ask you first of all, for those just a peek behind the curtain, I just want to start off a little softball and ask, we weren't able to record this earlier because you had to take care of your doggo. How is your doggo doing? May I
My
ask you?
doggo is doing good. She got spaded. We needed to do that for her, and she is happy and outside running around, playing around. The first when we first got her, she was like tired, sad, and now she's having fun outside with her sister playing fetch. I was with them like probably like 30 minutes ago, and they
Mhm.
were happy. I fed them. They were happy, and now they're probably just outside playing around with each other.
We love to hear that. Next question. This one is one that I like to ask anyone who has ever played baseball. And I
Hmm.
feel like we actually get a lot of different answers sometimes. What is your, as a batter in the box, what is
Hmm.
your favorite count?
Favorite count 2-0.
2-0? Okay.
Yeah, because if not, if I'm in the 2-0 count, they're gonna have to throw a pitch there. If not, it's a 3-0 count, and then it's a free OBP. If not,
Mhm,
2-0, it's always like sometimes a cookie, a fastball
mhm.
down the middle, and it could be a double or a home run, whatever you choose.
I like that. I feel like 2-0 is definitely the count of like, oh man, like
Yeah,
you're probably gonna get a pitch here depending on what's going on. Mine was 2-1 growing up and being very bad at
two
baseball.
one. Yeah, 2-1's a good count too. But usually I'll say that my favorite count is in 3-0 because if you swing at a bad pitch, then you just kind
Yeah,
of
right.
lost a walk.
Yeah, the Twitter gets mad at you and all that
Yeah, like,
stuff.
oh, you could if you would have
Yeah.
swung, but if you swing at let's say a 2-0 pitch and you foul it off, you're still in like your favorite count 2-1.
Yeah. I like 2-1 because it's like it's guaranteed that you'll see two more pitches.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. There's just something about that I really like. Um anyway, moving on. So very good count. Shout out to 2-0, I guess. I have seen look, you're part of you're and I have to ask this as well. I ask every baseball player this, but now this I ask anyone who's ever been tied to California in
Okay.
any sort of way. Is In and Out as good as they make it out to be? Have you tried In and Out?
I tried In-N-Out, and I'm from Miami, so I'll
Okay.
say that's a really good burger.
Really? Okay.
Yes, because the only
Okay.
thing that's here that's really good is you're gonna have McDonald's, Burger King. We don't really have anything crazy down here, but then
Mhm.
going to California, and the first thing I did try was In-N-Out. I wanted to see
Yeah,
how it
of course.
was, and I thought it was pretty good.
Mhm.
The menu
Um,
isn't that big, but it's a really
hey,
good burger.
hey, I
It
know
gets
that,
the
like,
job done.
it gets the job done, and I know
Yeah.
that, like, Chick-fil-A is another one. That menu isn't actually that big either, but
Mm,
people lose it over it,
people
so
love it.
it's funny because In and Out, I've always wondered if it's just a California conspiracy. I have had
No.
so many. So it's still, even with your vote of confidence, still 50-50, man. Not 50-50. I'd say like 60-40, where like people are like, yeah, it's great. And some people are like, yeah, it's okay. It gets the job done.
That
But,
I didn't.
with the Miami endorsement there too, that's a big deal. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
even like I had of course, my loved one here go that when she went there, she said she liked it. My family
Mhm.
went out there, they liked it. So I'll say it's a pretty
Even
good
more
burger there.
votes in favor. So maybe now we're at 70-30.
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering, in San Antonio, this is super insider baseball. I'm doing this for the sickos out there. Have you tried, in San Antonio, did you try churros at all?
Yes, I tried churros.
Okay. Anybody who's a fan of the NBA, they know what I'm referencing when I talk about the churros. You guys can go look that up. What are some other things? Actually, we'll start with this. Actually, I saw while doing my research, I saw that you have a fellow that my mom actually won for Thanksgiving. Saw him appear at the Thanksgiving Day parade with the float and was just in awe of him. And that's Goku. And I noticed that that is your Instagram picture.
Yeah.
Are you a big anime fan, just like myself?
I am a big anime fan. Usually, what I do throughout the year, my ritual, what I do during season is every month I'll pick a different anime. So
Really? Okay.
when I started the year, I started with Tengen from Demon Slayer.
Hmm.
Then I went into Naruto, and then
Okay, of course.
I put Itachi with him on the pole,
Hmm.
and then I did go. Let's see. I did Goku himself, but when
Hmm.
he was in Super Saiyan form, and then I did another Demon Slayer, and then I finished this year because I was going like through a long year, and I just put Goku again.
Love that. I mean, you can't go wrong with them. Shouts to Pikachu here, who's got a Naruto headband.
I had a Pikachu too
Yeah.
during spring training.
Oh, I mean, he's the best. And it's
Yeah.
funny because if you are, I mean, somewhat slight spoiler for Naruto, which has been done for a long now, but I can imagine if people only started, like, if they only finished the first half of it, they're like,
Yeah.
it's kind of a menacing thing to have Itachi as your thing. Is this a bad guy? Like, what's going on, man? That must be a lot. And I've also got my little One Piece thing going on.
I
If you
like
haven't
that.
started that one. Highly
No,
recommend.
I heard
everybody.
that's my brother's favorite
It's the best.
anime.
It's the best. It's the best. I recommend everyone check it out.
I did order a bat from who was it? Jaws is a new up and coming company, and I had a bat custom made with one piece of Luffy going to Gear 5.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, yes.
And that was
Love
my
this.
profile picture. That's another one I had. Luffy
Gear 5. I mean,
yeah.
in my personal opinion, my favorite like transformation thing that because it's
Crazy
just so different from
Mhm.
everything else and has some sentimental value that I will talk about on another podcast if anybody's curious of my thoughts. Go look up Den of Geek Gear 5. You might find my article on it that I wrote over there. But last question for you, man. I gotta ask, what just in general, I guess outside of anime, now that we just talked about that, some other things that you like to do in your spare time.
My spare time, I like to go fishing because it helps calm myself.
Mm.
Of course, I like going to the beach in Miami, and I love to just be with family. That's my favorite thing to do. That's what I'm gonna do. Like for my 2 weeks I'm here, I'm gonna be spending time with family, go fishing once or twice, maybe hit up the casino, watch football, and just have a fun time here. That's what
You
I
got a
like to
favorite?
do.
You have a favorite football team?
I'm from Miami. I know everyone
So-
is gonna say Dolphins fan, but I have family in Buffalo, New York, so I'm a Bills fan.
Oh, wait, so both, or is it just Bills?
Bills.
Okay, good, because I am a Chargers fan. Sorry, Padres fans. And we've had beef with the Dolphins for a while now. So that's a whole can of worms unpacked. But Romeo, this has been a blast, man. If you have any final words, of course, you're allowed to share them. But just wishing you luck for the rest of your career, the rest of this season with San Antonio, with whatever approaches, or even outside of baseball, wishing you the best, man.
No, I'm just saying thank you for having me. It has been a pleasure, and thank you for having me here again.
Absolutely,
blessing.
man. Everybody go check out Romeo on Instagram. I know that the graphic says that it's X, but I did not know how to change that. My fault. You could follow him at RomeoBall13 on Instagram as well as Threads if you'd like to be caught up with whatever he changes his profile picture to next. Everybody, that about does it for today's edition of the Locked On Padres podcast, the only pod that may be better than the Padres themselves. Remember to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow me on Twitter if you'd like, at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO, as well as at @Padres. Remember to message on the YouTube or message me on Twitter, both accounts, whichever one you want, for your questions for Monday's mailbag episode as we hit the thick of things for this playoff run. Romeo, it's been a blast, man.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Everybody, we'll see you next time.